wanted money to be plowed back is for efficiency of service delivery at the facility. So if counties go back and take again, and you know the major complaint was that you are taking money to county treasury, which is by the time we do requisition to get fuel for ambulance or drugs, Kenyans might have died. So what was the rationale? And I'll be hesitant that we don't amend that law because it's about health. I thought so that you can get money to fuel and get, it is an emergency service.
Chair.
So I really want to understand where the governor is coming from, because the wisdom of FIF is to have resources flowed back to improve efficiency and service delivery at the lowest level of the health, at that lowest level. So, Chair, those will be my 3 follow-up questions.
Okay, Chair.
Let's allow Senator Lelegwe to go on record, and then Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Lelegwe Tumbesi, Senator for Samburu, member of this committee.
You're welcome, Senator. Senator Wambua. Oh, sorry, Senator Gataya.
Chair, my name is Senator Mwenda Gataya Dharaganidhi, member of this committee.
You're welcome. Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy you are saying, and my colleagues are saying, that there are conversations that can happen between the county governors and the Senate. And I want to go back to that FIF. Okay, the law is clearly, Governor, the law is, it has been breached as is. The question that I ask myself, and I keep asking this question, because the county governors are the ones who are implementing these things. They are the ones who are on the ground doing these things. If there are difficulties, because I'm seeing a lot of these breaches in FIF, there's a lot of breaches in the wage bills, on painting bills, you know, in almost every county. And the question that I ask myself, Chair, is what is the difficulty in the Council of Governors initiating a conversation with the Senate on the amendment of the laws? I don't take the position that Senator Cherargei is taking, that we don't touch the law. I mean, laws are there to be amended if there's need to do that. What is the difficulty in the COG, especially on health matters, on FIF, engaging the Senate and saying, perhaps we have this difficulty in the FIF, why can't we amend the law to suit counties across the board? Chair, that would be my comment on the FIF.
Governor?
Chair, on Senator Wambua's point, I think the reason that the national law appears to be breached is because of the conflict between the national law and the county law and the laws that were already legislated by counties. And this was, as I mentioned earlier, a standard law that all counties legislated. And no sooner had we finished legislating, there was a new process. And when we input into the new process, some of these views were not accommodated, and the national law was then passed. But in recognition that the national law supersedes the county laws, we are amending our own county laws to conform with the national law for the moment. There was always the question, the FIF, the special purpose account that Senator Cherargei mentioned. Of course, each facility has an account, their own account, which they run on their own. There was an earlier question of expenditure at source, which facilities receive money and they spend without any level of control. So you will find that a facility has received money, rather than buy medicine, they have maybe prioritized building a gate. And that is why there was a special purpose account created, so that when money is sent to the facility account, it is sent with an AIE. And we have formed an AIE committee that has the CC for health, the chief officer for health, and the facility in charge, so that they discuss and agree on what are the priorities. And for example, they've said priority number 1 is you must buy pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals before you are allowed to invest in firewood or anything else at the facility level. So it is exercising some level of control, but ensuring that the facilities have their resources to expend. So, Chairman, on this particular FIF, we are concluding on amending the law. We have attached the revised law for the county so that we can align it with the national law, so that we can proceed, so that the breach is not noted. But all of this is for purposes of service delivery. There is nothing, there is no money from health that is not spent on health.
So, Governor, through the chair, that alignment, will it happen in all the counties or is just in Homa Bay?
This is what Homa Bay is doing. And the auditor mentioned, that many of the other counties are also working on their own laws to align it with the national law.
Where there is conflict between national and county legislation, national legislation is the one that applies. Now, before we get lost in the policy conversation, the numbers are not tying. Auditor General, you are saying the county collected 1.6 billion towards health facilities improvement. And out of these, 915 million was transferred to special purpose account. Let's tie the numbers, because the policy issues, I think, are quite clear. The county does not refer to 1.6, the county says it collected 915. So which is which? For us to be sure that even with that irregularity in legislation, the numbers are flowing as they ought to be. You have said the county collected 1.6 billion from 24 health facilities. Is that the position?
Yes, Chair.
So, Governor, is that the position, that you collected 1.6 billion from 24 health facilities? Because if you collected 1.6 billion, then what ought to have been shared between this 20% and the rest of the facilities, the base should be 1.6 billion, not 900 million. So let's make sure the numbers flow. Was the collection 1.6 billion?
My understanding is, and the auditor can correct if this is not the understanding, is 1.6 billion was the claims made by the facilities.
Auditor, please clarify that, because you have said collected, and collected means money in the account.
Maybe, Chair, just to clarify this, is that the facilities collected 1.6 billion. But out of this, they transfer 915 to the special purpose
account. Just leave it there. So you confirm as the auditor that the facilities collected 1.6 billion.
Yes.
Okay, so
Supposed to collect. Collected. You know,
collected
we're talking
1.6
of 24 facilities.
So what was supposed to, even with this problematic law, what should have gone back to facilities should have been 80% of 1.6 billion.
Which is 915.
Which is 915. But the governor's response indicates that it was 915 collected. There's a mismatch there.
You know, in fact,
and a huge one.
If your math is right, that 915 is 80% of 1.6, then they actually collected 1.6.
Yeah, but then the gap between 1.6
and then 687.
That's over 700 million shillings. That can be 80%, Chair.
There's a mix. The numbers are not adding up.
So
let's agree on the numbers.
Maybe, Chair, just I can clarify.
Yes.
When we audit these facilities, of course, I said 24 facilities collected 1.6. Out of this 1.6, because of the timing difference, they transferred 915 to the special purpose account. So ideally, the entity need to transfer 900 again from the special purpose account to the entities, but they retain the 20% of and above. So you realize what has been transferred is 687 from the special purpose account instead of 915. So the difference is 228. They could have ought to retain 183 million if they use that law. So the difference between 183 and 228 is 45 million, which audit queried again. But that 45 million again was transferred later on, and there was an evidence for that support. So There is the total amount that the entity has collected, facilities.
Auditor General, what is 1.616 billion? What is that? Is that cash collected from the facilities?
Is it money that hit the accounts of the hospitals?
Yes.
So, Governor, you collected 1.6 billion from hospitals. That's a fact.
You know, from the entities themselves, which we audit, you know, we also audit these facilities.
Yes.
If you do the cumulative, that's how they collected.
But
You
because of
have
the
a
time-
schedule, auditor.
Yes, there is a schedule when we do the audit.
yes, so the Governor is the collector and the receiver. Did you receive 1.6 billion from the facilities?
I think what the auditor is clarifying is what he found at the facilities was that they had collected 1.6 billion. What we are handling from the purposes of FIF is what facilities then transferred to the special purpose account, which is 915. So from that, the auditor indicated that he needed us to transfer back the entire 915, but we retained the 20% as per the law.
Maybe for us to understand, what happens to the 700 million between the 1.6 and 915 million?
Now, Chairman, when we look now at the audit of the entities, when we go to the PIC, then we now compare with the facilities, what did you receive and what didn't you send to the SPA account? Because from what the Auditor General has raised, there might be some money that facilities have received, but because of time or whatever difference, they have not transferred it to the SPA account. So we, from this angle of FIF, have no visibility of it.
No, the percentage is so huge, it's material. If it was a few millions, then you could talk of timing differences, but it's a gap of 700. So is it indicative of deduction at source? Expenditure at source without first remitting the money to the relevant funds? That's 700 million.
One could be, but what the auditor has said that the facilities had received from his point, the money, because I would have imagined that these would be claims they have made and they are yet to receive. But from what he said, it's money they had received, which is, it means that it is money that the facilities themselves had not sent to the special purpose account.
No, I'm asking this question just to understand that process, because I would expect that if it was 1.6 collected and you have audited the financial statements for the facilities, then what would be transferred to the special purpose account cumulatively should be close to the 1.6. Which is 80%. Which is 80%. I'm struggling to understand why there's that gap.
I thought it should be the entire 1.6.
Yeah.
Then it is transferred.
Then it is sent back.
So that's where auditor should tell us, because a simple understanding means 1.6 should hit the county account.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they return 80%.
80% back
Yeah.
to the facilities.
Yes. So we have not had. I've not received that explanation properly from the auditor.
I don't think it's the auditors, it's the entities.
It's the entity. not
It's
the
the
auditors.
entity's explanation.
Because they should agree with the entity that it's 1.6.
Yeah.
Then we do the maths now.
So does it mean 700 million was
the entity
spent
or is it the
at source? If the governor can clarify that, does it mean 700 million was spent at source? Because you have you have chief officer in charge of health services. They are the accounting officers and departmental heads. So out of this 1.6, and I don't think OAG will go and come up with 1.6 billion without going through the schedule of collections within those 24 facilities.
But
So
Chair,
between 1.6 billion and 915 million, the difference of 700 million, was it spent
Chair,
at source?
Chair,
Okay, Senator
it's the
Maruma.
same auditor who audits those hospitals. He should be able to tell us, was the 700 million spent at source? That difference.
Chairman, that's why I believe the initial explanation should actually come from the OAG on the visibility of the 1.6. billion Kenya shillings.
Okay, let's allow the OAG to advise us.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. When the facilities collect, you let's say maybe the share has been paid to specific facilities. And based on the arrangement between the special purpose account and the facilities, they are supposed to fund these transfers. So for us, we normally have the cut of debt, which is 30th June. So at the cut of debt of 30th June, you may see the facility has collected. But probably they will have the 5th day of the month for them to transfer the funds. You know, there is what we call a timing difference. So at that point of the cut of debt, we realize the facility has collected 1.6 from their side. But what they have transferred as a cut of that debt of that June is 915, 941 to the special purpose account, because they have to transfer funds to the special purpose account. Then later, the account retain 20% and retain. So there is timing difference, because if probably we look in the month of July, the fund maybe has even been moved to special purpose account. But because
Can
have
the
the cut of
timing
debt,
difference be to the tune of 43%? Because that variance is 43% of the total.
700 million.
A timing difference could be a month or a quarter. Governor?
I think I may see where the auditor is coming from, because the facilities, they report on accrual. They report on what they have claimed from SHA. That's what they report as their revenue. Not necessarily what SHA has already reimbursed to them at any particular time. So they might be reporting in their books those amounts, but on the basis of the claims they have, because every treatment you make, you file the claim, but the money does not necessarily come back to you in good time. So sometimes we even report, you report revenues on the basis of those claims in the hope that you will receive back the money.
And
perhaps
yes,
that is what the report is, because we have tightened a lot the issue of expenditure at source. The facilities bring money to the spa. But again, the entities, we the PIC, detailed reporting from the entities themselves. That's when so today we were responding to the issue of what came to the FIF. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, that's why I was asking the auditor if the 1.6 billion actually hit the accounts of the hospitals, and you did the total. And if you did so, and 915 was transferred to SPA, then you must be knowing what happened to the other money and how it was expended.
Auditor?
Oh, yeah.
Because you see, the auditors use the language, the facilities collected. And English, on its face, a collection is money that has been received by the facility. So I don't know what else we want the auditor to explain.
Whereas what the governor says makes a lot of sense. Are we okay? Yeah. So, whereas it makes a lot of sense, Chair, you have asked the auditor more than 3 times whether that money, 1.6 billion, was realized by the facilities. And the 3 times he affirmed that the money was realized. So I don't know whether now he wants to change that position or what's going to happen.
Auditor, you remember you're not the one on the spot. It's a county to explain. So I would be quite hesitant to put you on the spot for too long, but just clarify, because even though the English here does not need clarification for anyone who went to school. Auditor, do you stand with your collected, or it's something that you want to vary?
Here we stand with the amount that has been collected at 1.6, because we also audit these 24 health facilities. And based on their collection, you can able to confirm that this is the amount as at that date. But in terms of how the funds are moving from the facility itself to the special purpose account, there's always timing difference. But here the main concern of the audit query is 915 that requires to be fully funded back to the facility.
Yeah, 915, but we have also raised concern about the 700 in between. Because even if it was a timing difference, it cannot be 44%, because the amounts that have been transferred are just 53 point something % of what you report as having been collected. So I think this is a matter that perhaps needs to be looked into further, because we focused more on the law, but not on the numbers. These numbers must be looked at. Now, Governor, is there a disbursement schedule for the facilities so that facilities know that on a monthly basis they're going to get their money back? Because I think coming from Homa Bay, there could be one or two facilities that I've heard have not gotten their disbursements since perhaps late last year. Is there a disbursement schedule, or the disbursements are done as monies are received from SHA?
Thank you, Chairman. In the earlier times of the process, there were delays here and there, but that was tightened. So if you send your money to the SPA, it should not be more than 4 days before you receive it back to the facility. And I want the finance chief officer who does that to just confirm whether there could be monies that can take more than a week in the SPA.
Yeah, and you might also want to confirm whether Ndiwa, Ndiru, Magunga, Rachonyo East, and Suba Sub-County have got some outstanding disbursements, as you explained that.
Thank you, Chair. The refunds to facilities, we do them as fast as within the day, but not longer than within the week. And that is how the SPA that is locally operated has really been useful for us to ensure that that is done. Unless a facility has not met any condition required, for example, bringing a certified statement showing what they received, which also rarely happens. So I can confirm that it doesn't go beyond a week, but it goes as fast as within a day we send back to the money back to the facility.
Is there any reported challenge in some of those facilities that I mentioned? In terms of delays in reimbursement? Ndiwa, Ndiru, Magunga, Rachonyo East, Suba Sub-County Hospital.
Chair, that is reimbursement from SHA, not from the SPA at the county. There were some clarifications which were being required by the SHA national office, and therefore their reimbursement from the national SHA office is what is has a challenge, not from the local operations.
Okay, so on that, because when we went to Busia, I think we went to the general hospital, and the doctors there gave us certain challenges that they're facing with SHA. What would be the challenge in Homa Bay, so that even when you're engaging with the CS for health, it is something we can bring up, that Homa Bay was before us, and several facilities have not been reimbursed for many months. Because every time Duale comes, he says, everything is working well. There's no problem with SHA.
Chairman, I can say overally, SHA has been reimbursing the facilities, but there are specific facilities in Homa Bay, public facilities that had challenges with SHA itself. And when the AI system that SHA has picks any anomaly with the facility, they stop. And then you clarify, and then they reopen. So this is what happened to some of the facilities that you've mentioned. Was Magunga one of them? Yes. Yeah, and Magunga. But a number of them, I want to ask you, Grace, the CC Health, to just confirm which of these facilities have been cleared by SHA and which one is still left that we are still pursuing.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. The facilities that have since been cleared are Rachonyo South and Rachonyo East. We still have a problem with Ndiwa, with Marindi, with the Suba sub-county. Magunga is one of them, Ndiru, and Nyalgosi. Thank you.
And is it a workflow problem, or there's a more fundamental problem? I remember when the president was in Homa Bay, there were comments that were made which left us with egg on our face. I think with regards to, must have been Rachonyo, one of those hospitals where it was said that we are cooking up claims, which I don't think is the nature of our people. So are the challenges just workflow issues, or there are material things that this Senate can take up with the CS in charge of health?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members. A good number of the challenges relate to contractual provisions, and I think our team is doing a very good job of providing information that is needed as required. Some of it is just that SHA has been overwhelmed by requests and things that they have to look at the different facilities. So some of it relates to speed on the SHA side, some of it relates to contractual issues, and some of it also just changing policies. SHA has been changing policies very, very frequently, and it has taken our team some time to master that.
Okay, honorable members, I know we have gotten now into broader policy conversations. We'll need to come back to the numbers. Senator Maruma.
Specifically, Chair, for this query, the action taken by the management is that the management disbursed the funds to the respective level 4 and level 5 hospitals. I'm imagining it is the 183 million that was retained. And then you have the process of harmonizing the two laws has started. That is, they're amending the law. I don't know if that is adequate to mitigate on the query, but also we need to know what is happening now. Are you still retaining the funds, or now what is happening?
I think on the first part of the question, if we cannot agree on the 1.6 billion, then we cannot have a resolution. So we need, the auditor will have to assure us whether that 1.6 billion is collected or accrued. I think that's a starting point, because if the 1.6 billion is collected, then we have a much bigger problem of retention or drawing on funds at source. So there's no way we can solve this matter until we establish the basis. Governor?
Chairman, I wanted to agree with you that because our responses focused on the money that came to the SPA, if we could have an opportunity to look at the schedule from the auditor on the 1.6, so that we know exactly what animal we are handling. So, Chairman, I wanted to agree with you that we will retreat and get the 1.6, whether it's accrued or whether it is actual. Then we handle it from there, and we will also be appearing before the PIC on the same with the entities.
Yeah, so since this is in the report that is before us, we cannot toss it to another committee. Auditor General, as we do our report, you will provide us with a schedule that provides evidence of the collections, and if there's that gap of 700 million, we'll put the governor to task on it. We could proceed to long outstanding trade and other payables. Even though, maybe for the benefit of everyone in the committee, so for these facilities where there have been those technical challenges with SHA, when a citizen comes to the hospital and there's no medication, how do you deal with that? Or is there a stopgap funding measure? Because if SHA fails, then it is a county government that has failed. You know, you are the face of service delivery.
Chairman, it's a discussion we have had with SHA, including with the minister, that for public facilities, if there is a challenge, should the SHA be stopped, or should SHA continue to serve the public as we'd handle any issues on the background? And the idea should be that SHA should continue as you handle the issues on the background. But right now, we have had to support those facilities from our exchequer side to be able to handle, and the public is not able to access SHA. But we are working round the clock to ensure that SHA is restored, and I'm happy that some of the facilities that were off, like Rachonyo South, Rachonyo East, they are now restored, and we are sure that within the month or so we should be able to restore the other facilities.
Okay. Senator Sifuna?
Yeah, Chair.
As we move to the trade debtors.
My hearing the county governor to be saying that the people of Homa Bay who've been going to this hospital or facilities have not been charged money that she has paid or the county government has paid for that. Because I remember recently we were told that there was an outage in that SHA system, and at least in Nairobi our experience was totally different. People were being turned away from facilities. Governor, are you saying you are the ones who have been paying for those people in those hospitals where the SHAs had issues?
No. I think, Senator, my point was, because the facilities, especially at level 4, rely a lot on the FIF, without an active SHA program, they need to pay certain basic issues, including commodities and so on, which we have supported them to support electricity and the other utilities for those facilities.
They're still out of pocket payments at your facilities because of this problem.
Yes, because of this problem, there's still out of pocket payment, particularly in the facilities that are facing this particular problem. The 4 out of the 234 facilities, I think we have 4 of them now facing this sharp problem.
I think, Chair, if I got you correctly, what you're raising is if a facility has been blocked by SHA, yes. I'm a citizen of Homa Bay. I have the SHA card. I will not get medical attention in that facility. I think that's the question Chair is asking. Then what happens to those innocent citizens of Homa Bay? They have SHA. The facility that is run by the county has been blocked from SHA. So how do they access health services, if that is the situation?
Maybe in addition...
Okay, Senator Chirake.
Access services, they have to pay out of pocket, or because the challenges facing those facilities. Are these the same facilities that the CS told us they were facing issues of fraud? And then number 2, do you as a county have indigent support to citizens who don't have the ability to pay for the medical services? Thank you, Chair.
And for the record, Senator Chirake is the biggest defender of SHA in this committee, so we'll be...
Chair, I'm the biggest defender of government, I'm the biggest defender of broad-based, and I'm the biggest defender of anything that government for the better of Kenya.
Okay, that's extraneous.
And your governor also is the biggest defender of broad-based.
So let's come back. Let's come back to the audit. Governor,
so should it follow that you should be the biggest defender of mine? Oh no, just. I think on the issue of these specific facilities, the discussion we have had, you can find that a facility has a case that can be said to be fraud, for example. Maybe it is a case of not adjusting quick enough to the policies. Maybe it is a question of people shared beds, so you claimed for 30 instead of 20 beds, which you're registered to have. So those kinds of issues are the ones that are resulting in the blocking of facilities. SHA generally, if I would say, Chair, reimburses facilities and is a big improvement from the previous system that we had. That I can say.
But the concern is this innocent Kenyan who has SHA,
and that is,
but comes to a public health facility. But because of the mistake of that health facility, he or she is not able to access service using the SHA card. Yep. What do we do?
I'm in total agreement with you, Senator Okongo, because, and this is the discussion we have had with the SHA and with the policy level, that if a facility has an issue, the issue should be dealt with while the public continues to access services. This is what we have raised, so that the punishment, when you block a facility, the punishment is not on the administrator. It is on the patient. So we have asked that the policy be changed so that if there is an issue with the facility, let the administration of the facility, who is the contract holder, because, you know, facilities sign direct contracts with SHA, to let them deal with that as the facility continues to offer services to the public, which is not the case at the moment.
Okay, Senator Sifuna, finally.
Just a clarification, Governor. You know, we in the Senate and you in the Council of Governors actually on the same side. I actually view these conversations here as you appearing at one of those facilities you're talking to, because we're supposed to fight these causes together. What we say out there, whether you are the biggest supporter of whatever, is something else. But we shouldn't be hearing any complaints when it comes to service delivery in hospitals if SHA is working. How much money does SHA owe Homa Bay County, your 24 facilities in reimbursements?
I want to ask my health team to just work that out and share.
And also just confirm to us what is, my chair calls it an aging analysis. Because when people go around saying this thing is working, and yet maybe Homa Bay is prioritized in terms of payments, but in Nairobi, SHA owes our hospitals a lot of money, and they are suffering. Those, you know, maybe we should start being like Cherargei, and then our hospitals will be given money. But we want to confirm.
But Chair,
he has called himself the biggest defender of something.
Of course, yes, of SHA.
So the CEC there should just confirm to me if because Homa Bay is one of those counties.
that cannot be an algorithm.
That's what I want to know. That's why I want to know.
Governor, that's a political question you can ignore.
No.
Order. Senator Cherargei.
Unless Senator Sifuna, through with your indulgence, Chair, gives us a system that works 100% anywhere in the world.
Chair,
every system has
Honorable Senators, we are the ones who wrote the 4 laws when we're in Turkana. So if it is not working well, it is our
Chair,
responsibility.
You can't.
It is our responsibility
you can't take that
to
responsibility.
revisit them.
The argument is,
Chair.
if an entity has been blocked because of fraud, you know, if it is blocked, I agree with the argument that the innocent Kenyans must serve. But you also protect the resources that belongs to the people.
No, that's okay. Let's allow Senator Sifuna to finish.
I don't think when we write laws, we take on the responsibility of implementation, because what we were promised by the current administration is universal free health care. So even one person going to a facility and not being able to receive medication is a matter of concern for us as a leadership. Chair, the question of fraud is just one. But for instance, Chair, if you take into account the recent collapse of that system of SHA, that is not a question of fraud. And bearing in mind, Senator Cherargei, how much money the Kenyan taxpayer paid for that system, I am not saying, Chair, that we expect 100%, but we are saying a system that expensive cannot be out of service for 4 days. There's loss of lives in the country when things like those happen. That is nothing to do with fraud. So we are within our rights. We are within our rights to insist that because of the amount of money that we paid for that system, my healthcare contributions, Chair, when I was elected here, I think they went down, they went up almost 30 times. I pay over 30,000 these days, and we used to pay NHIF a fraction of that. And the way that program was sold to us is because, Sifuna, you are well-to-do, you are earning �1 million shillings a month, let's contribute so that the other people who are unable to or don't have an income, the people in the villages in Karachuonyo can be able to do what? Access healthcare. That is the reason why we supported the system. Now, if it doesn't work, if there is even just one person in Karachuonyo who is not receiving healthcare because the system is down, 100 and something billion Kenyan shilling system, Honorable Chair. So it's not to say that these questions are political, but healthcare is political.
No, I think the questions are proper. We had asked about the size of the debt. You have the figures? Maybe you could share?
Chairman, SHA owes us approximately 350 million to the facilities in Homa Bay. Chairman, on the other...
And how old is that debt? Is it a month, 2 months, a year?
They're just working on the aging. I just wanted to bring the amount. Chairman...
But even before you go there, Chair, if the Auditor General or the county entity itself is saying that in the entire financial year that is under review, They themselves told us 900 and something was collected in all the facilities, right? If SHA alone has 350 in debt to the hospitals in Homa Bay, that's almost a third of the collections for the facilities, you know? So when we bring out these things, don't make it look like it is political. But if you have come to the doctor and you give me the wrong, what is it called? The wrong symptoms, Governor. If you give me the wrong symptoms, I will not apply the right injection, and you know how we do it. We want you to be paid the 350 million.
I think you are starting, your preamble is what should carry the rest of the conversation, that we are on the same side. When we ask these questions, it's to get a solution. And when we find that 300 million is owed to Homa Bay, out of a potential collection of 1.6 billion or 900 million, it is significant. And it is in these sessions that we find legislative interventions, or just interventions we can call the CS for health. But it shows that there's a problem if you don't have 300 million reimbursed on time.
Chairman, maybe I can just say this also, because in our language, something is said that the tail of a ship is compared with the other. If we compare the level of reimbursements, the amount in terms of reimbursements that SHA is giving to facilities in comparison to what NHIF was giving, SHA is much more enhanced. If we compare the timeliness in payment, SHA is prompter than what NHIF was. I'm just noting that in comparison. Of course, there's no perfect system.
The promptness will determine once we get the aging analysis of the debt.
Yes, Chair, let me just make a point, a simple but important point. You know, Governor, you and I, and every Kenyan worker is not in arrears in their contributions to SHA. None of us is in arrears. There can never be an explanation why SHA really should hold, that's just one county, 350 million Kenya shillings. And you know what, Chairman and Governor and all of us, you know, we can choose to compare NHIF and SHA or whatever it is that we want to do. But you see, Governor, if SHA was working in Homa Bay or in Kitui, the first person that would know that SHA is working is a patient visiting a facility. We don't need to tell them that it's working. I mean, if it's working, it's working. If it's not working, it's not working. And we are talking about a situation, and I don't want to go into those comparisons, where the Kenyan taxpayer has paid in excess of 100 billion Kenya shillings for a technology that is supposed to support SHA, a system that has been down for now almost a week or more. So let's not even go there. But if it's working, then Kenyan people will know it's working. We don't need to tell them that it's working. And for the amount of money that we have spent for that system, honestly, the uptime should be more than 97%, if you ask me, for the cost.
I know this is, these members here are seized of this matter on the floor. CS Duale comes regularly. What we must demand of Governor Wanga is to account for the 1.6 billion reported as collected. That's what we must demand from Governor Wanga, that money must go back to facilities. What we must demand from CS Duale is why 350 million remains undisbursed to the facilities. So I think let's separate it. Let's not attempt to over-explain the national government's role because this is a county government that is distinct. I think that's where we are falling into a trap. Governor, you got the aging, or it's something that can be provided later?
I think they're working on it, and we will be able to present it.
So we are clear on this particular matter that the first thing we must confirm is 1.6, And in terms of amendment of the laws, county laws, I think it would best serve governors to perhaps caucus and have one standard amendment for the county laws or the national legislation. In fact, amending one law is faster than amending 47 sets of laws, but we shall leave that to you. Let's move to trade payables, long outstanding trade and other payables. Auditor General.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Long outstanding trade and other payables. The statement of the financial position, and as disclosed in Note 20 to the financial statement, reflect a trade and other payables balance of Kenya shilling 1,524,513,380, which includes a payable totaling to Kenya shilling 1,091,975,059 that has been outstanding for 1 year, contrary to Section 14.2 of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation 2015, which said that the debt service payment shall be the first charge in the county revenue fund, and the accounting officer shall ensure that this is done to the extent possible that the county government does not default on the debt obligations. In addition, although the management has provided a payment plan showing the order of the priority they intend to use to clear the debts, the plan does not indicate when the payables will be settled. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
Thank you, Chair. Management has noted the auditor's observation and wishes to clarify that it is committed to settling pending bills in accordance with the Pending Bills Action Plan for financial year 25-26. Out of the 1,524,513,380 outstanding bills as of 30th June 2025, Kenya shilling 713,199,834 has so far been settled, leaving a balance of Kenya shillings 811,313,545. Management is implementing the approved payment plan and has prioritized the settlement of eligible and verified pending bills, subject to availability of funds in line with the PFM County Government Regulations 2015. The payment plan outlines the order of priority and timelines for settlement, and the management intends to settle the pending bills by the end of financial year 2026-2027. Appendix 8A, Pending Bills Progression Summary. 8B, Pending Bills Action Plan for 2025-2026. 8B, another one, Current Status of Pending Bills.
Governor, with the progress that you have presented there, how does that change? For example, if you look at your note 20, that you had 148 million outstanding over 3 years. When you look at pending bills as a first charge, with your payment plan, to what extent have those figures changed? Because, I mean, you would have pending bills under 1 year as you wait for your disbursements, maybe 1 to 2 years as you wait for projects to complete. But over 3 years is indicative of a problem. You reported 148 million as bills exceeding 3 years. Is there a specific plan to deal with debt over 3 years?
Chair, and I...
Or let's allow Senator Cherargei also to
Governor,
this question.
I've seen your response on this matter of pending bill, and I've noticed over 92% of the pending bill of 1.5 billion was accrued by your administration, over 92%. The 8% is historical. Question 1, can you segregate and give us the reason in detail? That is question 1 after what the chair has asked. And number 3, in this 92% of pending bill, are there pending bills that are tied to multi-year projects that the county is undertaking? And how much are we looking at? And finally, Chair, since I know we don't want to interrogate the chair of County Public Accounts of Homa Bay, in the budget allocation, how much has it been in this financial year, and the CCM or Bureau is here, has been allocated to offset the pending bill? Because looking at the aging analysis, it doesn't add up considering the budget. And finally, Chair, just finally, sorry for taking long, Governor, you have indicated that there were eligible pending bills. In your answer, because I'm just reading your answer, Chair, if you have noticed, the Governor is talking as settling pending bills action and also on, and as prioritized the settlement of eligible and verified pending bills. So what is the basis of this? Is it the controller budget that did verification, or yourself? And is there a report? When you say eligible and verifiable, how much are you talking about? And ineligible, could it be connected to historical pending bill, which you have, which is related to 811 billion? So because it says eligibility and verifiable, so which ones are eligible? So that maybe he has lumped up everything. Okay. Chair, I yield back.
Fine. Maybe Governor, just take note so that we take all the questions, we'll be able to move fast. Senator Sifuna.
Chair and Governor, I'm looking at the development expenditure pending bills as at 31st May 2026, which I think is your Annex 8C. Are we together? There is a document called Homa Bay County Development Expenditure Pending Bills as at 31st May 2026, which would indicate that it is a current status, Honorable Chair.
Is that 8C or 8A?
I think it's I have found it at 8C. Yeah, it's 8C, yes. So there will just be like 3 items that maybe you can address as well. I was picking out the high ticket issues. There is a pending bill of